All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it has BSS for its local search and for its city search. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more on this, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white here. Highest intent people on the left. These are the peeps searching literally today for boudoir photo shoot in their city. We focus on those peeps here with our BSS videos about BSS because these are highest intent, easiest to convert, closest to the money people. Over on the right, our lowest intent people. We talk about those with our sister brand of Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we own what boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, BSS means boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots on page 1 on Google means obviously, they're on page 2 or deeper, somewhere deeper. And we care about this because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never ever even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done searches, that's it. Which means if we're on page 2, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And 1 slot on page 1 on Google, that ain't good either because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. If 9 other boudoir photographers each have 1 slot, everyone's looking the same, everyone's got 1 slot. We're not saying that, we're basically invisible. And guess what? A boudoir photographer is, or a boudoir buyer, their behavior is going to be just clicking through everyone on page 1. Well, approximately 80% of the boudoir buyers, they're only going to be clicking through everyone on page 1. They'll never go to page 2. And they'll be comparing everyone on page 1. And as a result, they will, filling out everyone's contact form, getting price quotes, negotiating, pulling down the price, asking for more. It's kind of annoying to deal with, to run a business that way. And most of them won't even go with us. So it's like, man, what's even the point? Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It is a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, the number one thing there is, well, basically everyone knows this. This is more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. Just simply as people upgrade their gear, kind of like get a new iPhone, get a new camera. This just naturally happens. Then eventually they throw up their Google My Business profile, saying they're a boudoir photographer. They've got their website ranking on page 1 on Google they're competing to, saying they shoot boudoir photography. They are also increasingly posting in the mom groups on Facebook that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. And a big market saturation time of COVID, tons of people lost their jobs, so they earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with awesome camera. Tons of people became boudoir photographers in that time. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality. This is the new one that very few people know about. So what this is actually a lot of boudoir photographers have kind of assumed or accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And it's kind of like, yeah, whether Google wants to give you that slot, yes or no. And maybe you're on, who knows, slot 7, page 1, slot 7. Then some market saturation happened. Now you're on page 2, slot 2. And a lot of boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, I hope those new peeps, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will bring me back up onto page 1. But no, this is 100% incorrect. This is the wrong way to think about it, because what we have learned and we have the data to show is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want, and we actually do put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. So that's how we know the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. Again, if we got 0 slots page 1 Google search, that means there's page 2 or deeper. We're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1 on Google, we're looking the same as the other 9 competitors that are on there for a total of 10 slots. We're still invisible. We're still disappearing. We're slowly dying. So multi-scenarios, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light, the red flag that's telling us our boudoir photography business itself is now on its way to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's how we went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. we'll see that data here. I don't know, like 4 or 5 more pictures. Now, SQ methodology, the way it works, it's exactly the name. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up them there for those. And this is kind of like, when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America on the eastern side, the backside. Snow back there. What eventually happens is that snow melts, small streams, small rivers, and guess what? It all flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is Google page 1. But to get all that water there, first got to be snow at the top of the mountains. So saturating social search, that's our snow. That's where everything begins. That's the input we care about, our S-cubed methodology. Everything flows from successfully executing S-cubed methodology correctly. And the interesting thing about this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually enables them, that gives them a chance for their business to continue to grow, even in the face of market saturation, and even if they don't have a large, well-known brand, and to do all this give them this opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other shot would obviously to have a large, well-known brand to compete against market saturation. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. We got AI taking people's jobs. We don't have time. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build it with a large, well-known brand. What's actually interesting is utilizing SQ methodology. My estimates is it will actually speed up the process of creating a large, well-known brand in an area by approximately 8x, because it'll be seen with such a much higher frequency across so many more platforms. That's my estimates. It's kind of like a secondary benefit of utilizing this technology. So now an example. All right, so right now we're going to Phoenix, and there are currently 1 million boudoir photographers in Phoenix. We are one of them. Since we don't have a large, well-known brand, then the only way we can, everyone's got their websites and their boudoir photographer competing page 1 in Google search. So since nobody's got any of those since there's so many competitors, we realize, all right, we got to use SQ methodology to get out of this mess. Let's say we crank it up to the max. Let's say we're ranked for the first 300 slots across all of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And let's say that flows out onto Google. And we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. And we know it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. And so as a result, we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And we are basically, for any boudoir buyer to find any of our competitors, they got to scroll down to slot 301. And on Google, that's page 31. I mean, who's doing that? Basically no one. So when any boudoir buyer is actually searching for, any boudoir photo shoot in our city or any high intent boudoir buyer keyword in our city, we're basically the only ones showing up. And as a result, we, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, fading, disappearing? Most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers that buyers really can't even find them because we're saturating all the surfaces where they could be found. So this is kind of a ultra extreme example of what S-cubed methodology can enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. Yeah, we get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. But our second initial benefit of every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we actually get, we're actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers in our city off that page. And we actually make them invisible because now they're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. So we can basically choose to make our competitors disappear and put their business on the path of disappearing, depending on how much effort we want to put into acquiring all these slots. Now, page 1 visibility, actually it's boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe has a recommended minimum of having minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search. That's because all the other boudoir photographers will basically have 1 slot, so we're going to be dominating them for buyers scrolling page 1. And on the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots, we're going to be dominating them as well because we have 3. We also know the boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our basically our full Currently got our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief of page one equality. We can now solve it with S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Just kind of our micro universe here. And now we're gonna look at my results. So the results that I got, purely using S-cubed methodology. So I want to dominate rank for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one Google search. And let's see the results I got with it. So we're getting slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So the best thing about this is I'm from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So now to the main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search and its city search. So Middletown, Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. So here we go, Middletown, Delaware. So here we go, we got slot 1. Sponsor doesn't count. All right, we got slot 2. All right, we got slot 3. We got slot 4. Hey, we got slot 5. And we got slot 6. Slot 7. Slot 8. Amazing. All right, this is what we want. This is page one domination. When we got 8 out of 10 or more slots on page 1. Google search for our highest intent keyword. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Obviously, we want as many as we can get, 9 or 10 as well, but hey man, 8's great. So we do not have BSS for local search, and we have achieved the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search. Perfect. And that search, the largest city close by, which is Wilmington, the same thing. All right, so here we go. We got slot 1. Boom, slot 2. All right, so we got slot 2 here. So we do not have BSS for city search either. So we got 2 out of 10 slots. Nice. And a benefit. So we do not have BSS for local search, and we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search. We also do not have BSS for city search, but we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for city search. So all in all, pretty good. So if you're a declining boudoir photographer, a DBP with boudoir search sameness, and you know that because you've gone and done the local searches, the city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your area, and you're saying you either had BSS for one, at least one of those searches, or you have basically you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for at least one of those searches. So you got BSS boudoir search sameness, you're disappearing boudoir photographer, and you understand that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. So we can actually take as many, as a result, we can actually take as many page one Google links as we want. And you actually are saying, wow, S-cubed methodology, this is the only solution for you. You've actually been waiting for something like this to be able to, get all these extra links, page one Google search, kick out your competitors, which you actually like a lot more, make them invisible, put them slot 2 and deeper. So you like those initial benefits. You understand the market saturation, yeah, more people join because of, getting new gear just over time. And also you understand that, you're understanding that AI is taking more and more people's jobs right now. And then the last time it's happened, COVID, people lost their job, is still to earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with an ultra powered camera. So a ton of boudoir photographers entered the market saturation during that time period. And you're realizing, wow, that's going to happen again more and more over time. On top of people upgrading their gear to become boudoir photographers, but AI is going to get better and better every single day, every single year. It's going to be taking more and more people's jobs every single day, every single year, forcing more people into the market to become boudoir photographers because everyone's got a super powered smartphone, with an ultra powered camera. So you're like, so now you're realizing, wait, it's not really about page one links. We actually need so many page one links that we fully book out page one. Then we got backlog of page one links that Google wants to put on page one, but can't because we already have too many links there. So then it starts filling out page 2, 3, and 4. Basically realizing you got to actually fortify your page one position so that no current boudoir photographer can ever, basically ever has a chance to rank there. Also, no future boudoir photographer that comes after AI takes their job will ever have a chance to rank there. And you're seeing that, okay, again, SQ methodology is the only solution that can provide that benefit because basically because it's the only way to get that many links out in the ecosystem. You also like the future well, you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your journey to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And as a result, you're liking the future benefits of SQ methodology as well because you understand we're making these videos, ranking for these keywords. We're actually building these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of plugged into our brand, business name, website name, social handles, your name, website name, website URL, all those things, kind of this cluster of data, plugging in these invisible thematic keyword columns, or we're ranking for these keywords. And as a result, every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, grow these columns or add new columns, actually increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. Here on Google, it's the #1 most premium placement. Right at the top, cannot pay for this through ads. And in parallel, we're actually increasing the probability that AI search apps start to recommend us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. These are increasing in usage every single day for search. Google standard search decreasing every single day. And last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it recommended me 3. And I actually went to do manual, Google standard search, Facebook search for boudoir photographers in that same city. Dude, there was 60. So if only 3 be recommended through ChatGPT, we gotta get one of these 3 slots by any means possible. And you're understanding, okay, future SQ methodology is the only thing that is going to give your business the best chance to achieve that and increase that probability as fast as possible. Third feature benefit, growing you to become a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than all these other methodologies or all these other standard solutions because we're doing much more volume spread across many more surfaces. So you like that feature benefit. You also understand that my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you like that. You can get all these benefits, prevent your competitors from getting them, and build up kind of like a large competitive gap between you and them. The links on page 1 for all these keywords, and going and doing building that back-end AI keyword mindshare kind of momentum over time for every day that SQ methodology is correctly executed. And as a result, you decide you're going to be a first mover in your city without this new technology. Give yourself kind of a leg up on everyone else because the converse scenario, if one of your competing boudoir photographers were to sign on with me first, then you would actually, me and your competitor would be getting all the links on page 1. You'd be booted off to page 2, 3, 4, deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. We'd be fortifying them, so you're on page 1, so your chance to have a ranking on page 1 again decreases, every single day. And as a result, you would then actually, me and your competitor would be building up this massive back-end AI keyword kind of cloud, or back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum for the highest intent keywords, so they can be recommended in AI overview and AI search apps, and that gap would get bigger every single day. And for you to compete, what you'd actually have to do is rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, but you would never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And you would also have to then execute it equivalent to us every single day. And if you were to do all that, you would actually be maintaining the gap me and your competitor had already built up ahead of you. So you'd never actually make any progress towards closing that gap. So in order to close that gap, you'd actually have to increase, 2 to 3x our output. And, since you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place, it's hard for you to even put in that time to 2 to 3x our output. And then you're looking like, dude, who's even got 80 hours a day to do all this stuff? So you've decided to screw all that. You decided you'd rather be the first mover in your city and not deal with missing out on this, making sure a competitor doesn't get it. And so, if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when we open the hospital for new patient intake, you can DM us then. Because even if you find somebody to contact us now, nope, we ain't working with you. So DM us once the hospital opens for new patient intake, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.